So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it.
Five,
What you know about classic music?
3, 2, 1. I counted down.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I got thrown off because somebody had... I know.
Don't blame this on me. I counted down and you just were like, huh? Oh, no, I don't want to hear it.
Who has it play?
I literally said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you did nothing. It is what it is. It's fine.
Now I figured it out. That's what threw me off. I had it playing on another window. That's what happened.
That's
why I was so thrown off.
Cool.
Okay, I fixed it.
All right, cool. Go.
Now, what's going on, everybody? I hope we don't have these issues when we do WrestleMania 24 because we have to be professional for that retro. But yeah, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's Retro Wrestling Review Series. Today we're doing WrestleMania 2000, which is fitting because we just did sort of WrestleMania 15 yesterday. If you want to know why it's a sort of, just go watch the video and you'll understand why. I am here with the person out of all of my friends, I think, that likes the Attitude Era the best, mainly because he was like a teenager when it happened, so he actually saw it, knowing about everything about wrestling. Casey Gallagher, how are you today?
It's been a long week, but thankfully I got Cat.
Yeah, I know. You have a cat. We have a cat on video, and we have everybody on video. And I am your host, Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm excited to talk about this show today. Let's hope we can bounce back after a terrible intro. This is what happens when you play the window on the thing. But feel free, everyone. We're doing this live to leave comments in the chat room talking about the show. I would ask that you try not to talk about anything else but WrestleMania 2000. You could talk about other things in 2000 if you want, but try not to talk about like Stomping Grounds 2019 or something like that, because that's not really on topic of this video. So, believe it or not, this really was nobody's retro pick. Usually somebody picks a retro and they say why they picked it, but this is sort of a mutual pick, my pick kind of thing, because if you remember, Casey, I know you weren't on all of them, but I think you were on at least 2 of the 3 of them. Last year in like December, we did a bunch of 2000 retros, and we did Backlash 2000, Fully Loaded 2000, and well, we haven't done Judgment Day 2000 yet. But we did watch it, but that is coming. And we did Royal Rumble 2000 for the Royal Rumble retros. So I figured since we were on a 2000 kick, we might as well do WrestleMania 2000. There's gonna be no other time to really do it. And let's be honest, considering how this show was, depending on how you feel about it, no one, I don't think, would even pick this as a retro for WrestleMania. I mean, we could say this WrestleMania was better than 15. We could definitely say that. So
doesn't mean it wasn't a train wreck for most of the day.
No. So let's go through how the company was. I'll still talk about it, but if you really want to kind of know what 2000 was like for a year, you can watch. We also did SummerSlam 2000 last year, actually. Also, you could watch SummerSlam 2000. You can watch obviously all the other 2000 pay-per-views I just mentioned. Because I talk about it. I'll talk about it a little bit here. Obviously, as we talked about, this was WWF's best year, probably in terms of a product. The pay-per-views,
in terms of their finances.
Yeah, in terms of their finances. The pay-per-views were killer. Obviously, the biggest thing that they got was the Radicals, which was basically the best guys in the mid-card division of WCW, being Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko. And, they just gotten, like, Chris Jericho, like, the year before that. And I think they got somebody else that was, like, pretty big at this time. They got Taz this year, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
But yeah, they got...
More accurately, which James will probably talk about.
Oh, he's talked about it before. He's gonna talk, but he'll definitely talk about it again. Yeah, like WWF.
Taz and Rey Mysterio are just his boys. Let's be honest there.
Let's be honest. But yeah, the WWF is doing really well. I'm pretty sure if correct me if I'm wrong. Not long before this, I think it was in like February, they had like the best main event match on like Raw ever. It was like the Rascals and Triple H versus like the Rock and Sock Connection and Chris Jericho and I think. Not Chris Benoit, but it was some other babyface. I think it was like Kane or something. It was like they did like a big 8-man tag. I think it not only was it the best match, I think it was like one of the best ratings of the main event of Raw they had like ever done at that point. So,
well, I wouldn't know for sure. I hadn't seen that Raw. The most vivid memory I have of Raw from that era is of a Raw where the main event was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Chris Benoit. I don't think it was a title match. But Undertaker took on Edge and Christian in a handicap match at that show.
Yeah. I mean everything in the WWF at this time was just clicking. The mid card division was not only was it great, but it was becoming great because this is what the beauty part is about reviewing the retros after this show is we can see how great the mid card division became because we had such great feuds for all the mid card belts. The tag division was on fire. That I don't know if you were on the conversation.
We'll see a lot of that on fire tag division tonight.
Yeah. And the main event division was on fire. Consider the fact, too, we've talked about this before. They lost two of the big main eventers from the Attitude Era, and The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, at the end of the year, pretty much.
And this was still, like, their best year of programming and in terms of finances.
No, I just said all that, right?
Like, for some reason... For all the shit that I personally will give a lot of the WrestleMania 2000 card, overall, this was probably the one year where WWE could do no wrong.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, as we talked about, for some reason, we talk about how the Attitude Era was one of the greatest eras in the history of the business and WWF more specifically. For some reason, when it came to WrestleManias, I don't know what happened. They just could not get WrestleMania right up until 17, I guess 18, but a lot of people consider 17 to be the last WrestleMania in the Attitude Era. I don't know if it was...
I'm on that list as well, yes. 14 wasn't all bad. You obviously had the few clunkers, but hey, you had Pete Rose getting tombstoned. You had Undertaker versus Kane as like the greatest story match up to that point in WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the coronation of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, so you had that one. That was great. And then 15, as especially James went into, was a travesty. It was a complete train wreck. And then
as far as booking goes, it was very well produced, but the booking just was not there.
This one, pretty much... I don't know what happened here. Every match except for one match was some type of multi-person match, and even the one-on-one match on this show, even it's like a gimmick match where you don't even pin or submit anyone to win. You just throw them out of the ring. So, I think they were just trying things to make them to see what stuck, and a lot doesn't stick. But the stuff that does stick, oh boy, does it ever stick! It stays right on that wall.
You're goddamn right.
But yeah, let's talk about this show. Let's go through the financials of it. So we're not going to do any trivia because nobody picked this show really. So there's no trivia. So I hope you didn't study any trivia for WrestleMania 2000 because you're not getting
it. Really.
So
yeah, right. All you really need to know is it took place at either end of March or beginning of April 2000 at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California.
Yep, it took place April 2nd.
April 2nd, is that what you said?
Yeah. April 2nd.
Okay.
Just like this year's.
Yep. And if you want to know the attendance, just look WrestleMania 12.
Yep. Like I said, it took place April 2nd. The attendance was 19,776. The buy rate in North America was 824,000. I don't know why they don't know the other numbers, but in North America, that's the number. They don't. Wikipedia wouldn't tell us the other numbers. And the tagline, which we'll talk about when we get to the main event more in depthly, was a McMahon in every corner, because that's basically what the main event is. So,
yep, the most dysfunctional family in wrestling.
Probably were the most dysfunctional family in wrestling, honestly. And I'm going to talk about the theme song because that ties into the show. The theme song was Hotel California, produced by Jim Johnson. And this is obviously a big thing because I'm trying to remember. It was Tupac had a song very similar to this song, and they tried to get that song to be the WrestleMania theme song.
They tried to get California Love.
They tried to get California Love, but they couldn't agree to the prices to it. So they basically just told Jim Johnson to come to basically perform a song that's similar to it. And you should know this song because, as you guys have, unless you shut the music off, I'm pretty sure you do. It plays on like the soundtrack of WWE 2K14. So, yeah, they got it for that show because if you remember WWE 2K14, you should remember you play the game like every week probably.
Just about.
Yeah. Was the 30 years of WrestleMania story mode, and yeah, they had a lot of past songs from WrestleMania, and Hotel California was that song. So I believe this is obviously it's produced by Jim Johnson, but it sounds very similar to Teddy Long's theme song, because I used to think it was Teddy Long's theme song. I'm like, wow, it's Teddy Long's theme song, but I'm like, wait, no, it's not.
And funnily enough, Teddy Long is a referee on this show.
He is. So it's like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will be going back to 2K14 because we play one of the matches in the story mode on this show. But there was a Sunday Night Heat. We couldn't find it anywhere. At least I couldn't find it anywhere. It's not on Peacock or the network, other places. They have the Sunday Night Heats up to like, I think it starts at 98 and then it ends at 99. That's why I covered Sunday Night Heat on my version of the Mania 15 Retro. Well, you guys couldn't be asked to do it because that show sucks. So yeah. I don't think you wanted to take up any more time doing it. So
no.
Going through the show, though, we had the commentary team of Jerry the King Lawler and Michael Cole. Not Michael Cole, Jim Ross. Obviously, I copied my notes over from WrestleMania 15, so that's why I said Michael Cole.
There you go. Okay. But you tried to cut corners and just made yourself look like an ass.
I only did that earlier in the video, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, made yourself look like even more of an ass.
Yeah. But yeah, it was JL and Ken. We've talked about them. They might be my favorite commentary duo ever in the history of professional wrestling.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you right there. When they were on their game, they were untouchable.
And we've done career retrospectives about them before. You can check out one of the 2000 retros because that's would have been where we did it. The Spanish commentators were Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. I love hearing them on commentary. I always
so good.
Anytime now that they're both in AAA, not the most recent AAA show, not the one where FTR lost the belts, but the one before that. I listen to the Spanish commentary version because even though I don't understand it, I'd rather listen to them than the English commentary because they're just that good. Even though I don't know what they're saying. The interviewers were Michael Cole and Kevin Kelly. This is great. Kevin Kelly is the only one we have to do a career retrospective for because everybody else has appeared in some way, shape, or form in the 2000 pay-per-views we've done a retro for. So this is awesome. But Kevin Kelly didn't last much longer in the company.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't this like his last on-camera appearance for the Fed?
Yeah, he did other things. He hosted Bite This, I think it was called, and he hosted the WWF like confidentials. He was in a sense though, he's the reason you could make an argument that Triple H took over because he pitched the storyline for the Triple H Stephanie McMahon on-screen couple to become a thing. So in a sense, Kevin Kelly accidentally influenced the nowadays product of the company.
No wonder he got the hell out and went to Japan.
Yeah. But yeah, he ended up getting released in 2003 due to budget cuts. And afterwards, he did like a big shoot interview, basically burying the company and all its corporate ways it was run. And then eventually he went on to become play-by-play, particularly for obviously New Japan, and he did some ROH and MLW shows. He recently just won Commentator of the Year in the Wrestling Observer.
Really?
Yeah, he did. You say what you would about. You could say what you want about the Wrestling Observer awards. I don't necessarily hate them. A lot of people have given it flack for, but what wins and what loses. I typically don't really care about them because they're not. It doesn't really matter at the end. I mean, it's just for them to kind of, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and call Kevin Kelly a bad commentator. He's not.
No, he's not.
But he's sure as hell no Excalibur.
Yeah. When announcer was Howard Finkel.
Lillian Garcia came out to perform America the Star Spangled Banner. Easy for me to say.
Before that, I gotta go over the referees. That's the most important thing in the thing. Most important job of the show. We had Earl Hebner, Jack Doan, Jim Corderas, Theodore Lawn, Chad Patton, Mike Sparks, and Tim White. And like I said, we've done career retrospectives for everybody. I'm just gonna say everyone but Kevin Kelly. So that way I don't have to keep saying that the whole show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lillian Garcia comes out and performs the national anthem. It actually was the national anthem. I mentioned it in WrestleMania 1. I'm pretty sure now they have a copyright thing where they can't sing the actual national anthem. That's why it's America the Beautiful now. Because I think it's the last, maybe 17, but I think this is one of the last times they did actually sing the national anthem. Lillian Garcia killed the national anthem. She did a really good job. This, I believe, was
not quite her best performance thereof. For me, that honor goes to the September.
Let's see if you can get there. I assume you mean the show after 9/11, right?
Yeah, the SmackDown after 9/11. That would have been taped. That would have been taped, I think, that very day.
Yeah, because they were like one of the last. They were like the first like sporting event or anything that like went on camera.
So that would have been the September 13th edition of
sounds
2001.
But yeah, she did pretty good. I think this was like one of her first stints on camera and stuff. So obviously she was going to be nervous, but I thought she did pretty good.
Yep. She did. She acquitted herself well.
Yeah. We had the intro video package where they showed. They mainly hyped up the main event, the McMahon in every corner. They showed other Mania moments that happened throughout the years.
What the hell kind of family did I marry into?
Yeah, that was awesome. And I was also going to say, too, because what do you call this WrestleMania? Because I feel like that should be talked about. Do you call it 16 or WrestleMania 2000? Because that's obviously a big debate everyone gets into of what this WrestleMania is really called.
I use both interchangeably. We're both talking about the same Mania.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's like a big debate that everyone gets into, like what this WrestleMania was really called. So, then we had the first actual match on the show. It was D'Lo Brown and the Godfather with Ice-T and the Godfather's hose ringside versus the Big Boss Man and Bo Buchanan. So you probably noticed this because the Godfather's entrance was edited out of the show.
Yeah, because Ice-T.
Yeah, so Ice-T performs the Godfather's theme song, and basically he just talks about a hose up pimping, they're gonna whip hose and all that type of stuff, and they're gonna have sex with them and all that type of stuff, which you can kind of understand why it's edited out because it's not very good to hear nowadays.
Yeah,
I typically would say that. However, I just watched WrestleMania 15 and they showed a Hayden of the Big Boss Man, so I'm like, why wasn't that edited out? So, yeah, this was a decent tag match here. I didn't have anything like wrong with the match. I just didn't understand what it was doing at WrestleMania. Like, this is WrestleMania, and this felt like a Raw match.
I will say this though. Good on Bull Buchanan to show off his agility with that amazing jump up to the second rope on the move, and then jump right back to hit, I believe, a clothesline.
Yeah, I really wish Bull Buchanan had come in like nowadays. He'd be pushed greatly because of how athletic.
He was really underrated for what.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of.
Also, going back to the Godfather's entrance real quick, you might notice that I have some choice attire on.
Oh yeah.
The main reason for this is that if you look in the crowd during the Godfather's speech, like right at the end when the crowd yells "Pimpin' ain't easy," off to the side of frame, you see somebody holding a poster of the Amazing Jekyll Brothers, the ICP album that had just come out the previous year.
So there you go. But yeah, the match starts off. Everybody gets into a brawl, and the Godfather and D'Lo Brown dominate the match throughout the beginning portions of it. Eventually, the Big Boss Man and Bull Buchanan take control. And the big tag finisher they do here, and I mentioned this because we see this nowadays, is they have this move where Bull Buchanan and the Big Boss Man both go outside the ring and they hit like a lariat.
The Bug Boss Man?
Yeah.
He's turning into an ant right before our eyes.
But yeah, they hit the double lariat on D'Lo Brown. And I say this because I don't know if you know this, but Bull Buchanan's son, Brooks Jensen, wrestles in NXT, and and him and his partner do this tag move now as like a tribute to. Well, I guess I can't really say a tribute. Probably a tribute to the Big Boss Man because he's passed. But, yeah. But yeah, I would say a tribute to this tag team mainly because Boss Man just passed. So that's pretty
cool. That's cool as shit, dude.
But yeah, they continue dominating the match. Eventually, the Godfather gets the hot tag. He starts going off on everybody, and eventually, after a bunch of chaos, Bull Buchanan hits a scissors kick from the second turnbuckle. And I think Bull Buchanan definitely does some training work with NXT because I don't know if you ever heard of the wrestler Carmelo Hayes. He does his finisher now. So it's like...
The name rings a bell, but I've never seen him work.
Yeah, but he does his tag finisher pretty much. I don't like the name, but he does the finisher. And Bull Buchanan and the Big Boss Man win, which I was obviously surprised about. I figured the babyface team would get the win since everyone was into the Godfather and stuff, but they really didn't need it. The Godfather was already over, and D'Lo was pretty over himself. So I really didn't have an issue with this. I gave the match 2 stars. I thought it was a decent open. I just didn't really understand what it was doing at WrestleMania. Like, this match was a Raw match.
This was absolutely a Raw match. I can agree with the 2-star rating.
And yeah, I guess one other person we have to do a career retrospective for is Ice-T. It's now I didn't do any research on Ice-T because I forgot he shows up on this show, but I'm pretty sure the Ice-T. I think he was already on Law and Order, but he went on to be on Law and Order as like a police officer. I don't remember his name on the show. I just call him Ice-T anyways. And I forget which version he's on now because that
would be Special Victims Unit.
So that's the version he's on. I don't know if he was already on the show, but I know that's what he's doing now. And obviously, he became not obviously as big in the rap. And if you probably ask people, they probably know him more as the cop on the Special Victims Unit and stuff, probably nowadays. But he became a pretty big rapper in the industry, so he's doing some good things. Afterwards, we had the McMahon-Helmsley faction backstage, and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon glossing over their championships. Triple H was the WWF champion, and Stephanie McMahon was the women's champion. I can finally rant about this because we're doing a 2000 video again, because we've seen video or pay-per-view since then where she's been the women's champion, and she never defends the belt. Why do they put the belt on her if she wasn't going to do anything with the belt? They legitimately... there was a women's match on this show. It wasn't for the title, so I just don't get that at all. But they're basically confident about the fact that they're going to attain the championships. Triple H is going to retain his anyways. And as we find out why they were so confident about it later in the night. But we'll talk about that later. Good backstage segment here. I always think it's funny nowadays to look back at like the McMahon-Helmsley faction because Vince was the babyface going into this. And Triple H were the heels. Everyone was worried that Triple H and Steph were going to take over the company. How funny is it to hear that nowadays? Because it's the other way around now, where everyone wanted Triple H to take over. And they're so worried about Vince regaining control and all that type of stuff, because there's been reports about that recently.
Well, wrestlers like working for a wrestling guy.
Yeah, so I just think it's funny that back in 2000, Triple H and Steph were the heels, and Vince was the babyface. And I guess Shane was a heel too, so... I thought that was funny. Next, referees talk to Crash Holly because they're doing the Hardcore Battle Royal. So this was on Sunday Night Heat. He was going over the rules. We find out that the Battle Royal is going to be 15 minutes. And whoever gets the last pinfall at the end of the 15 minutes is the hardcore champion. But there could be a lot of title changes during this time. They didn't say this as the rules, but it was obviously a given. Only the champion could be pinned during the hardcore battle royal. So there you go. We had the hardcore battle royal. I don't know why they called this a battle royal. This should have just been called hardcore war. Or I mean, this would suck for you.
You know what this was? This was a championship scramble.
Yeah, pretty much. They could have called it that. I was gonna call it. They could have called it Anarchy in the Arena, but I don't think you guys would have wanted that because then you guys wouldn't have been able to use it. So
yeah, right.
But yeah, pretty much the reason for this. Crash Holly had won the belt not long before this, and basically they invented the 24/7 rule out of this, where he had to defend the title all the time. He could be pinned anywhere, and he would have various segments where he would get pinned at. I think the Child's Play store at like McDonald's, and like at an airplane security place and all that type of stuff. And he would obviously lose the belt, but he would always regain the belt and come back to it. So they basically did this hardcore battle royal, which wasn't a battle royal, but whatever. And yeah, that's basically how this happened. The competitors in the thin, which I have to pull up, were obviously Crash Holly defending the title. The Main Street Posse, it was only 3 of the members. It was Pete Gas, Rodney Mack, and I forget who the other guy was. But we had the APA, or the Acolytes, I think, but it says the APA here, but I think they were the Acolytes on the show. Kai and Tai, the Headbangers, Taz, Viscera, and Hardcore Holly. Yeah, this basically was a mess. I guess it depends on what you like in wrestling. You either really like this match or really hated this match. I was kind of in between on it. But yeah, the match starts. Everybody just kind of starts grabbing weapons and everything like that. And like 30 seconds into the match, Taz hits a almost like an exploder suplex. It was like a catch suplex, T-bone suplex onto Crash Holly, and he wins the belt in 30 seconds, which I thought made Taz look really good there. And let's talk about it. So everyone's fighting on the outside. Viscera grabs Taz. He rams him ribs first, spine first into the steel post, and then hits like a world's strongest slam on the floor. And you're like, okay, this is Taz, right? He's got to kick out here. No, this put away Taz. And this was like the only offense Taz got on him, like the whole match too. He didn't get anything out, and this put away Taz.
To be fair, Viscera is also 6'6" and 500 pounds. So,
well, I saw Taz take it to somebody in ECW Heatwave '98 that was like about the same height in a last man standing match, and he won the. I'm pretty sure he goes through like the stage and all that stuff, and he's the one that gets up from it. So this is the same Taz that was doing that stuff. So.
There's a big difference between Bam Bam Bigelow and Nelson Frazier Jr. So,
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, Viscera wins the belt here. And then throughout the rest of the match for a bit, Viscera's the champ. I think it's like 13 minutes at this point, and he stays the champ till like the 9-minute mark. Everyone's just hitting each other with weapons. There was a fan used. It was like one of those square fans that you see all the time.
One of those box fans.
Which was pretty cool. I thought that was cool that was used. We had street signs. We had chairs. We had kendo sticks. Basically, when you say everything but the kitchen sink, it literally was everything but the kitchen sink here. Eventually,
I kind of wish somebody had brought out a kitchen sink now.
I know, yeah. Everybody just starts hitting weapon shots onto Viscera. And eventually, I have to get who wins it. Funaki, after Bradshaw hits a flying shoulder block, the APA is just destroying Viscera here. They put Kai and Tai on Viscera, and because Funaki was on the bottom of this sounds really wrong, but this is how it was. But yeah, so
Funaki landed first, so he got the pin.
Yeah, to put it nicely. So Taka Michinoku was upset about this. They themselves fight. Funaki runs to the back, and everybody just starts fighting with each other on the back. I almost said Rodney Mack, but it wasn't Rodney Mack. It was just Rodney. from the Main Street Posse throws Funaki into the steel grating that's backstage for some reason, and it covers Funaki and gets well, not the win, but he gets the belt. And then I believe Rodney gets thrown into like the garage door that you always see backstage. He gets thrown into that and then DDT'd on the floor, and he loses the belt. I believe he lost. This is what Wikipedia is for. He lost the belt to Joey. Well, first Joey Abs hit a gut wrench suplex on him before all that happened, and then Thrasher hit a clothesline. And then Pete Gas pinned him. He pinned Thrasher after a fire extinguisher. And then Taz hits a T-bone suplex in the ring onto Pete Gas. He gets the belt. And basically everyone's trying to pin Taz. And I think Taz forgot the rules of the match for a second. And they tried to cover it up by the fact that he was so out of it. Because I think he forgot at some points that he didn't even need to get any pinfalls, but he was still pinning people because he was just so out of it by hit so many times with, unprotected street sign shots and everything like that.
And to be fair, you take enough hard, unprotected shots to the head from chairs and stop signs and baking sheets and all that other ilk, eventually, you're gonna get a freaking concussion.
He probably did. I wouldn't be shocked if he did. And the Hollies start double teaming Taz. Eventually, Crash Holly hits Taz with a street sign, and he pins Taz to win the belt. And then this is where the big controversy is of the match. So the match is down to I think 5 seconds at this point. And
Taz has had Crash in the Taz mission for 45 seconds at this point.
Yep. And Hardcore Holly comes in, and he has a container of candy. It's like a glass jar of candy.
And it's JR's apparently.
Yeah, I guess he kept it ringside. And he hits Taz off the head with he hits Crash Holly and Taz off the head with it. And what was supposed to happen was Crash Holly was supposed to kick out, and he was supposed to just get away with the belt at the last second. However, this was botched. Either Hardcore Holly basically went on too early, or the referee counted too early. Basically, because I forgot to mention this too. At one point, too, the clock itself stops at the 11-minute mark. They had to take the clock off the screen and fix it. So that sucked. But basically, the finish was botched. Tim White made the count. He doesn't count the 3, but they basically had to call an audible, and Howard Finkel announced Hardcore Holly the winner and the new Hardcore champion, because he would have won the belt anyways, because it was 2 seconds where he should have clearly won the belt. And obviously, you can tell that this is a botch because Hardcore Holly does not look happy at the end of this match. He's pissed. He's the most pissed off winner I think I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, this was botched here. And apparently too, afterwards, Tim Wright was he got some heat for it backstage by Vince McMahon and things like that, because he screwed up the finish to the Hardcore title match and everything like that. Which, yeah, this does suck that this happened. Shit does happen sometimes. Yep. Overall, I hate to say this. This is a lot like that ladder match that you guys did for, was it the international title, where it was just nothing but chaos? Except your match was
that would have been the internet title.
Okay, the internet title, where it was a lot of chaos going on. But I felt like your match was better because it was freaking crazy and all that type of stuff. This match was a lot of weapon shots and everything like that, and I'm going to give this match a 2.5-star rating, mainly because the finish was botched. The botch kind of ruins the match and everything.
Yeah,
like
it kind of does.
What did you think of this?
If you like quote unquote garbage wrestling, this will be a good time for you. But again, the botch at the end does kind of take a lot of the wind out of its sails. So I'm gonna say 2.5.
This basically too. I think they ended up just kind of fixing the problem anyways by having Crash Holly. I think he ended up winning the title the next night or something on Raw. It was shortly after this. He's the champ again. And obviously then we get that match that we covered in Backlash 2000. They basically did it right that time. So, Yeah, then we had WrestleMania Access. It just showed things you could do with WrestleMania Access. Now, I think you could correct me if I'm wrong. I think this was the first time they ever did like WrestleMania Access. I assume they had versions of WrestleMania Access before this, but it wasn't called anything. It was just like a meet and greet. But this was when they actually first coined the WrestleMania Access phrase. And it's basically you just go have a meet and greet with the wrestlers. That's what it was like here. Obviously, they've added to it since then and stuff like that. Since WrestleMania has become a big thing now. But there was some cool things you could do. Each wrestler gets interviewed about it, and all they basically say that it's WrestleMania, it's huge, and all that type of stuff. One cool thing was I think Terry was being interviewed, and you could see Taz was being interviewed, and then they showed like what Taz was saying later in the later in the video package, which was cool. Undertaker was at WrestleMania Access, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though they weren't on that show because of injuries, and Shawn Michaels was there. Now, I'm just speculating here. I think he was on some type of drugs or something because he was wearing sunglasses and he looked like that he was not with it, really. I mean, I can't really say that because he was only on screen for maybe 5 seconds, but you could just definitely tell this was like the low point of Shawn Michaels, like drug addiction use, that type of things.
Yeah, it was a rough time for him.
And then there was a cool thing that you could do is you could commentate a match with Michael Cole. And I think the match you could have commentated, which I think James would have loved, and you probably would have loved too, was the street fight between Cactus Jack and Triple H at the Royal Rumble that year, which I would have loved.
Oh man, I would love to do that now.
But like that was pretty cool.
That was a good street fight. God damn.
But yeah, so you could do all that stuff. And this is pretty cool that WrestleMania Access ended up taking off really huge. They've obviously added to it. You can still commentate. I'm pretty sure now you can do like somebody's entrance. They obviously have, I think they still have it. Like all the WrestleMania opponents Undertaker had doing his streak, the Women's Evolution stuff. I don't think they do it anymore. They used to do like you could actually watch like a show there. Like they would do NXT UK taping sometimes, or like some type of like NXT tapings there sometimes. That's not the case anymore, obviously, but WrestleMania Access has been a really good success for the WWF/E. So, and it obviously launched off, other things like obviously like the big indie things that happened during WrestleMania weekend and stuff like that.
Yep. I think they would have a bunch of, before NXT became a thing, I think they would have a bunch of the indie people come into WrestleMania Access and work a few matches with WWE talent.
They did Worlds Collide there, and one of the matches at that show was Luke Harper versus Chris Dijak / Dominic Dijakovic, and that's just a hell of a match. Like it was just at WrestleMania Access too, it was such a good match.
NXT Worlds Collide.
Yeah, it would have been NXT Worlds Collide. Yeah, it was one of Luke Harper's last matches before he left WWE too. So, next Al Snow's
and of course Dominic Dijakovic is just a boy. So.
Yeah, he is. Next, we had Al Snow backstage, and he's in the bathroom stall. We find out why later, but he's talking to somebody in the stall, and Steve Blackman comes up, and this was at the time when they were doing the makeshift tag team between Al Snow and Steve Blackman. And Steve Blackman didn't want Al Snow doing any funny business because this is WrestleMania. This is a big stage for him.
Steve, think about who you're talking to.
Yeah. So Al Snow says he promises he won't. He says he's got big plans out there. Then when Al Snow walks off, when Steve Blackman
walks off.
Obviously whoever was in the store was taking a dump. So
yeah, hurry up.
So Al Snow tells him Al Snow tells him to hurry up and all that type of stuff. And then next, TNA's backstage. It just kind of shows them walking backstage and getting ready for their match. TNA is obviously Towson Albert, not the wrestling company. That wouldn't become a couple more years.
Yeah, that's not for a couple more years.
Next, we had Steve Blackman and Al Snow versus TNA with Trish Stratus ringside. They were trying to get over the name Head Cheese, and Al Snow gets on the mic and says that he brought out their mascot, Cheeser McCheeserton, and he comes out and it's
Steve Blackman is visibly pissed.
as well as the fans. They did not like this at all. And this match is weird because Head Cheese or Steve Blackman and Al Snow are clearly meant to be the baby faces. TNA are clearly meant to be the heels. However, that's not the case here because TNA wrestle like the baby faces and Head Cheese wrestle like the heels. Like they do all the stuff the heels would do. Like
You know what? You know why that's the case? 2 words. Trish Stratus.
Yeah, pretty much. This match was not all that good. I didn't really get into it all that much. The in-ring work wasn't bad. I was just wondering what was this was again another Raw match that was on Mania, but it was like a bad Raw match. None of these guys, I'm not saying they didn't belong on Mania, but this match did not belong on WrestleMania. I don't know what they were thinking here. They dominate Al Snow for a while. Eventually, Steve Blackman gets the hot tag. He does some really good stiff kicks in the match, which was awesome. I loved it. Eventually, they fight on the outside, and Test and Albert hit their tag finisher, get the win. So you could say TNA actually got a win on WrestleMania. Ha ha ha! I forget that. And then afterwards, TNA leave, and Al Snow gets on the mic and he says, "You know what? You're right. It's time to cut the cheese." That was another boomps. And they attack Cheeser McCheeserton to completely lay him out. And I think Al Snow and Steve Blackman were meant to turn heel here because they got booed and everything like that. And the commentators were like, "No, you can't be doing this to people." Obviously, nothing comes of this because a few weeks later, Taz and Al Snow aren't even really on TV all that much. They're not on the Backlash pay-per-view. So I just have to ask, what was the point of any of this? It didn't set anything up. It was a complete waster. I gave this a star and 3/4, and that's mainly because Steve Blackman looked like a machine in this match.
That sounds about right.
We've done career retrospectives on everybody in this match, so we don't have to do that here. Before I continue, I forgot to read the chat. We don't have any comments, so luckily, luckily it was a good thing I forgot. Next, we had the Cat and Mae Young backstage. What were your thoughts on this match? You didn't really get to give your thoughts, so
you pretty much said it all for me.
Do you have the same style rating? Did you like it more or less than I did?
No, I'm about with you.
Okay. And then we had Steve Blackman. No, sorry. We have the Cat and Mae Young backstage. And pretty much it's implied that the Cat is naked here. And they do a lot of things to cover up her ass and tits pretty much because and they do a lot of jokes with that. Like I believe Mae Young grabbed like a couple of glasses or something. And
it was a couple of bottles of water.
Yeah, and they were used to cover.
That's how the skit ended. There was also a pink T-shirt with a cat face on it. Yeah, put over a very specific area.
Yeah, so they were doing. I forgot about that area actually. So, that's basically that's what this segment was. There was a lot of innuendos about how the covering up how the cat was naked, pretty much, because this was to set up the cat fight later in the show. And then the show. Like, this show was probably, like, almost as bad as WrestleMania 15, maybe a little bit better. Then, all of a sudden, the next match saves this WrestleMania for being, like, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
Here we go.
First, though, we have to talk about the interview, obviously. Michael Cole interviews the Dudley boys, and they basically talk about how they're just going to wreck everybody's shit in the I almost said the TLC match, but the triangle ladder match.
Yeah, TLC wouldn't come until SummerSlam, I believe.
Yeah. And they basically say they're going to put everybody through tables and they're going to walk out still WWF Tag Team Champions. And let's talk about the triangle ladder match. We had the Dudley boys defending against Edge and Christian and the Hardys in the triangle ladder match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. This is when the tag division, like we said, was at its hottest, and these were the 3 flag carriers of the tag division at this time. They were the 3 main tag teams at this time. If there was main events and tag divisions, they were the main event pretty much.
Absolutely.
Basically, the reason for this match is all these guys were just really catching fire at this time. Edge and Christian went off to do their own thing after WrestleMania 15. They had that classic ladder match at No Mercy 1999 where it was the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. And we have to do that as a retro someday because that match is so interesting because they weren't well known really at that time. And the fans went from not really, I wouldn't say they didn't really care about it, but not really, but they were kind of mixed on them. To the end of the match, they get a standing ovation in that ladder match. And obviously the Hardys, I think, won that ladder match. If I'm not mistaken.
Rightly so for that freaking...
Yeah. Then they did that segment the next night where they got like a standing ovation. And Edge and Christian, the Hardys, were just making a name for themselves in the tag division. During this time, the Dudley Boys made their debut, and they just wrecked Red Shot over the tag division. They had that classic feud and tables match at the Royal Rumble earlier the year between the Hardys and the Dudleys. And then the Dudleys would go on to win the tag titles at No Way Out from the New Age Outlaws. And the Dudleys just week after week continued to wreck Edge and Christian and the Hardys going into this pay-per-view. So eventually, I forget who made the match because it wasn't Mick Foley because he wasn't commissioner yet, but some authority figure made a triangle ladder match between the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys. And this was when they were getting over at that time that the Hardys were crazy with ladders and Edge and Christian were crazy with chairs. Not to the levels that they would become crazy, but they were getting into that category. And you wouldn't know it because I always think it was because later on at SummerSlam, it's Edge and Christian that are the heels, the Hardys that are the baby faces, and the Dudleys that are the baby faces. But I think the crowd liked probably the Hardys more just because they were the high flyers and stuff. But here it's completely different. The Hardys are still face. Edge and Christian are the baby faces. And the Dudleys are the heels, which is just wild, which made sense. They were able to pull it off, obviously, pretty well. And yeah, let's just talk about this match. Everybody gets into a brawl in the beginning portions of the matchup. I'm probably not going to get everything in order here, spot for spot, because there's just so much craziness here. So
there's so much nuttiness going on.
Each person grabs a ladder at one point, and Edge and Christian drop kick the ladder into, I believe it was Devon's face, and the Hardys do the same thing to Bubba Ray Dudley. There's a spot where Devon even talked about here how he's afraid of heights in his interview and everything like that too, and he's in the biggest bump of the night where he has to get like a Russian leg sweep off a ladder by Matt Hardy, which was just insane. Bubba Ray Dudley throws Jeff Hardy headfirst into the steps via Irish Whip. He hits Matt Hardy off the head with the steps, which was just crazy. There's a spot where they all climb the ladder, and I believe Edge does like Christian does like a bulldog off the ladder onto Devon Dudley, and the ladder gets tipped over by Edge to Jeff Hardy and Bubba Ray Dudley, which was really cool. We had obviously the iconic moment where the Hardys always hit that splash leg drop combination from the ladder onto Devon Dudley. Edge and Christian do a double superplex to Bubba Ray, to both Dudleys actually, which was insane. There was a Tower of Doom spot. There was so many crazy spots. The Dudleys eventually just start going ham on everyone and just murder the Hardys and Edge and Christian. I love one spot here where they're both simultaneously. Bubba Ray Dudley tries to do a power bomb while Devon Dudley tries to do like a splat, like a flying headbutt / splash through the table onto one of the Hardys. And Devon misses, but Bubba Ray Dudley still does the power bomb anyways, which was just absolutely awesome. I loved it. And just the look that Bubba Ray Dudley gets in his eyes right after he hits this power bomb is just freaking scary. Yeah, that was it. Bubba Ray Dudley throws Matt Hardy headfirst again into the steps. We had Jeff Hardy does a corkscrew moonsault onto Bubba Ray Dudley, like right in the beginning of the match. Also, we had Bubba Bubba Ray Dudley puts the ladder on his head and tilts around. Does like the tilt-a-whirl where he hits everybody with the ladder. Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy use chairs and take out the Dudleys. Eventually, it's a classic WrestleMania moment now where Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton bomb onto Bubba Ray Dudley, and he goes through the table on the outside, which is just a classic WrestleMania moment. There's a spot where the Dudleys earlier in the match set up a table onto the two ladders, and it's like a platform so they can like walk onto the to get the belts easier and stuff. And eventually, Edge and Christian, Edge tips the ladder over on Devon, and he just falls on the outside.
Devon is actually standing in the middle of the table. Edge and Christian are coming up on either side of him, and I think it's Edge that actually pushes Devon off of the table that he's standing on, and he takes a big ass bump through a table in the ring.
That was insane. And then Edge eventually does the same thing to Matt Hardy as well, and that's the finish of the match. They climb on the platform, and Edge and Christian become the new tag team champions. And let's not forget this too. This was the WrestleMania debut. I know Edge and Christian were on 15, but this was like their first match at WrestleMania. Yep. And what a way to make an impact on your first WrestleMania. I probably missed so many spots in this match, but this is just one of those matches you just need to sit down and watch. It's just freaking crazy. It's such a great match. I give it 4.25 stars. Mainly because too, not only is the match itself is 4 stars, but I gave it an extra quarter star because this match sets up the TLC matches at SummerSlam 2000 and at WrestleMania 17, as well as TLC 3 on SmackDown, where they added Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho to the mix. And if you want to count that, the end of the trilogy, TLC 4 on Raw, where it was everybody in this match made an appearance somehow, some way. Like, this match is a great match here. It really saves this WrestleMania. Like, this from being the worst. I love this match. It's so great. What do you think of this?
It's so good. I'm with you. Solid 4-star match.
Yeah, that's awesome. Next, Kevin Kelly interviews Linda McMahon and Mick Foley. And Mick Foley talks about how this is the first time he's going to main event WrestleMania, and obviously his last time, since it's going to be his last match. Yeah, it wasn't. That's why I couldn't keep a straight face.
Spoiler alert.
Mick Foley said that this is his only chance to walk out with the WWF Championship, and he says that he's going to win the title, and he's going to do it for his son and everything like that. It was a good interview here. It just sucks because if you watch No Way Out 2000, you're basically paid to see Mick Foley come back anyways. But yeah, what did you think of this interview?
Mick Foley is just a joy to watch cut promos. He's so into it, and I love it every time he gets on the mic. Yeah.
Next, we had Terry Reynolds with the... Well, before I break down this match, let's see if we've got any comments. We don't have any. Next, we had Terry Reynolds with the Fabulous Moolah versus the Cat with Mae Young in a cat fight. I forgot to write that it was a cat fight. Basically, the only way you could win...
Before you continue, did you get my text just now?
Oh, no, I did not.
All right, yeah, just read that. Just keep that in the back of your mind if you see anything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Carry on.
But yeah, we had the cat fight. This is the only one-on-one match on WrestleMania 2000. And it's the worst match of the night. And yeah, it's the Cat versus Terry Reynolds. And the Cat was accompanied by Mae Young, and then Terry Reynolds was accompanied by Fabulous Moolah. So once I saw the Fabulous Moolah out there, this match is instantly going down a star because I did not feel comfortable watching this match with the Fabulous Moolah being out there. I felt the same way when they did the swim suit contest at Royal Rumble 2000. But I guess I didn't make it known there because James and I were laughing doing that when we were talking about it, so it made it better. But here it wasn't the case, mainly because it was actually like a match and stuff, and it was just very, Val Venus was the referee because he's the porn star gimmick. No idea why they were fighting. I didn't look up ahead of time. And yeah, pretty much, I think Vince was just... basically anytime I see the women's match at this time, when it's like this, I just say Vince is horny that day, so that's why he wanted them to have a match. That's basically what it was, I think. This match was bad.
God damn it, sex sells.
Yeah. You would think throwing somebody out of the win would be an easy job. It's not like you have to throw them over the top rope or everything, but these ladies make it harder than it needs to be. They get into a fight. They both try to kiss up to the Val Venus because he's the referee, and they're somewhat successful, somewhat not successful. Eventually, the Fabulous Moolah distracts Val Venus, and no, it's actually Mae Young distracts Val Venus, and Terry has the match won, but the ref doesn't see it, and they have to do it over again. And then eventually, the people they didn't even want to see have this fight end up having the cat fight. It was the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, and the less said about that, the better. Mae Young starts aggressively kissing Val Venus and completely distracts him. I think this was like full on for like 4 minutes. It felt like 4 minutes anyways. And the cat has this match won, but Mae Young's doing, her
thing.
Yeah, she's doing her thing. She's doing the person she's managing a disservice. And eventually, Mae Young puts her back into the ring, and Terry, I think Terry throws her out or something. I don't even remember what happens. And Val Venus just sees that the cat's out there, so he just calls for the bell and rings the bell. And then all of a sudden, like, we see the Fabulous Moolah just attack everybody, and it was just a bunch of craziness. And this was terrible. I don't know why this was a match at WrestleMania, other than that Vince was horny and it was the Attitude Era. It's one of the things I don't like about the Attitude Era is the women's division at this time. And again, I just don't like watching this match, seeing the Fabulous Moolah out here, knowing the Fabulous Moolah's past. So yeah. I gave this -3 stars. It was terrible. What do you think of this?
I'd say -1 star, but yeah, this was definitely not good.
Next, we had the WrestleMania contest. It was the all-day WrestleMania contest where you could basically get a limousine and get a private jet and go to WrestleMania. And I forget her name here, but they show her, and she was legit going to have a WrestleMania party like that day. Like everybody was over there ready for the party. And she finds out last minute she's going to WrestleMania. Her and her husband went, and they just basically go and have a nice time on the private jet. And they didn't say they got to go backstage, but I would assume you get to go backstage because if I was going to WrestleMania and had this VIP things, I would be wanting to go backstage. But I know I could say, well, you'd be on a private jet in a limousine. That doesn't mean anything to me if I can't go backstage. Like, I'd be kind of pissed, honestly. So
yeah.
But yeah, she was obviously like a huge wrestling fan. And she got to go to WrestleMania for free. And if it was this show, well, I guess 15, I guess I would have wanted to be free, but I would have wanted this show to be free too. So, yeah, but I thought it was a nice thing. What did you think of this?
Yeah, this was nice and wholesome. I wish the company still did stuff like this.
I know they don't really do things like this anymore. Like, I think the last contest they had was like SummerSlam 2013. I believe it or not, I think someone got to go to like SummerSlam for free. And that was a kick-ass SummerSlam too. So it's like, I would have loved that one. I would have loved to go to that one. So, but next, I do wonder what you guys would have done if you get to WrestleMania 15 for free. Would you have still shat on it as much as you did? I think you still would. I think James still would have, to be honest.
James would have been even madder about it.
I think, especially too, you have to go on a private jet and in a limousine. I don't think James is a private jet and limousine kind of guy. Like, I think you would have to like blast him with alcohol to get him not to trash that show. Oh, especially after seeing the Heyman. I think James would have walked out of the arena if he saw that.
Yeah.
I don't even think he would have gone in the limousine. I think he would have fucking destroyed the limousine too. Like,
I don't know if he'd have gone that far, but
I think he'd be thinking about it though.
He would think about it, yes, but I don't know if he would actually do it.
Then we had the Big Show and Shane McMahon backstage. They basically cut a promo talking about how the Big Show's the most dominant athlete in the match and how he's going to win the WWF Championship.
Cameraman did the classic Andre shot from the feet to the from the feet to the face of the Big Show.
Yeah. What'd you think of this? This was good.
It was pretty good. Shane is not exactly known for his mic skills, but he does pretty good work here. And then, of course, Paul White is Paul White.
Yeah. Then we had Kurt Angle backstage. At this time, he's the Euro Continental Champion, and
which he takes the time to explain to whoever it is he's talking to.
He's talking to whoever, like the head of security or whatever. And pretty much he wants, after he retains his championships, he wants extra security because people are going to be gunning to go after him, fans and everybody alike. And he wants extra security. And we never find out the guy's answer. It just kind of cuts away unless there was like an edit here we don't know about. But I guess it doesn't really matter because he doesn't win the match anyways. But I would have liked to know what he said.
Spoiler alert.
I say spoiler alert, but you should have seen the show by now. So, but yeah, I liked this. It's so crazy to think like Kurt Angle was only like 3 months, not even like he was like 4 months into the business at this time, and he was already this great. What did you think of this?
Kurt Angle can do no wrong in this era.
Next, we had the 2-fall triple threat match for both the WWF Intercontinental and WWF European Championships. The first fall was for the Intercontinental Championship, and the second fall was for the European Championship. It was Kurt Angle defending both titles against Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. I liked this concept a lot. I think a lot of people on like WrestleMania reviews and stuff don't really like that they did this because it wasn't very well structured and stuff. But I actually kind of like that they did this. It was something different to do, and I thought it worked, mainly because of the talent in the ring. But I wish they would do this with I wish they would have done this with Roman Reigns, where he would have had to defend one of the world titles. And honestly, it would have been a great way to separate the championships. I don't know why they didn't think of this at the time.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I do wish they would do this. That way Sami Zayn could get a top belt.
Yeah, because that would have been awesome. Well, at least we have in Sammy versus Roman, and whoever we could have the WWE title match be where Cody can face like someone else for the belt. But
yeah,
it would have been great to do this, and it was genius. We find out why they do this, but I like the fact that they did this. So we had the first fall. Well, first Chris Jericho comes out and he does his typical catchphrases where he says that WrestleMania was Jericho. He insults Chris Benoit and he insults Kurt Angle. It was really good stuff. And the reason for this match was because Kurt Angle had already been the European champion. He beat Val Venus for the belt like right before No Way Out. And then he went on to No Way Out to beat Chris Jericho for the belt. And he was the Euro Continental champion. And during this, he aligned himself with Bob Backlund, which I don't think a lot of people know about because it was so early in the Kurt Angle's career. And Chris Jericho was trying to get back his Intercontinental Championship, and he wasn't very successful, obviously. And eventually, Chris Benoit started eyeing the Intercontinental Championship, so they basically announced a triple threat match. And we found out on Sunday Night Heat that Bob Backlund was the one that
made this match how it is.
Yeah, and he did this to make Kurt Angle tough. And Kurt Angle basically turned on Bob Backlund before the show. It was on Sunday Night Heat where he locked him in the crossface chicken win. And that was pretty cool. And what a match this was. I love this match. I do get the criticisms where maybe they could have structured this better, but I personally love what they did here. I wish they do this again, where they would, have whoever the dual champion is. They could even they could have even done this with the Usos with the tag titles and stuff, where they defend one of the belts and stuff. But yeah, both men, before the match starts, Chris Benoit attacks Kurt Angle. I actually missed a match, but we'll talk about it after we talk about this match. And he throws him around ringside, throws him into the post, and I really just can't describe this match. It's a freaking clinic here. It's a great Intercontinental Championship match. There's dragon suplexes, there's Germans, there's Kurt Angle does a superplex in this match. There's a fall-away slam in this match. Chris Benoit does the high-flying headbutt in this match. This is just a great Intercontinental clinic that you just really have to sit down and watch. Words cannot do this match justice.
If you want the technical wizardry of the mid card on full display, this is the match for you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Going over the two falls, Chris Jericho hits a springboard moonsault onto Kurt Angle, and he has him beat. But Chris Benoit gets into the ring, and he blasts Jericho with one of the belts. I think it was the IC belt, and he ends up hitting the diving headbutt, and he pins Jericho, and he becomes the Intercontinental Champion. But the match continues here, and I like that there was no rest, like there wasn't a break or anything like that. Like Angle immediately went on Benoit after that. Then the finish of the second fall was Angle hit Benoit with the belt. And before this, Chris Benoit made Jericho tap out, and the ref didn't see it because there was a ref bump in the match.
Yep.
And eventually Jericho hit another springboard moonsault, and he pinned Benoit to get the European title. And I love Kurt Angle's reaction because he fully makes a recovery, and he didn't even lose his belts. They protected Kurt Angle so well here. But, I mean, they kind of undo it a little bit at Backlash, but because Angle's such a talent that he bounced back from it. But I love the way they got the belts off of Kurt Angle where he didn't even get pinned to lose the belts. And Jerry the King Lawler was great on commentary here when he said it was a conspiracy theory, and it was one of the very few times where like the heel was saying it was a conspiracy theory, and it actually was a conspiracy theory. Like he couldn't not side with Kurt Angle. But yeah, I like this a lot. I gave this 4 stars. I feel like this match should have gone a little longer. I really think if they had let this match go like another 10 minutes, this would have been something special. But I still gave it like 4 stars. I loved it.
I'm going to give it 3.25 stars for the same reason.
All right, there you go. So I remember I said I missed a match. I missed the 6-man tag on this show. So we have to go back and talk about that. And then I'll talk about kind of, I will say this. This obviously led to the great feud between Benoit and Jericho for the Intercontinental Championship, because Jericho would go on to lose the belt the next night, his European Championship, the next night to Eddie Guerrero. And we'll talk about why that happens later on. In like a couple seconds. And then obviously Angle just continued to go on the rise. He would it's just crazy to think. You watch the first few pay-per-views. Angle has like a losing record, but they still somehow he was just such a talent. We've talked about it for every time we do a retro that Kurt Angle's on. He's just unworldly. He just took to wrestling like a fish took to water. It was just
he's too good.
He was too good to be
good.
Like I think James and I talk about it. I don't know if you've ever seen New Year's Revolution 2006. He was talking about all this racist and like weird stuff on this in that promo, and somehow he was so good that he ended up turning the promo around to talk about the match that he was in, and that's how good Angle is. He's just so good. I can't say more about Kurt Angle. Like he's so good. But yeah, we have to go back a little bit. We had the Rascals backstage. This was earlier in the show. Obviously, this was minus Chris Benoit, but the Rascals talk about how they're going to take out Too Cool in China, and Eddie Guerrero just is spitting over China because they were doing that storyline at the time where Eddie Guerrero was trying to get with China, and then later on, China and Too Cool are backstage, and they're just talking. They talk about how they're going to beat up the Rascals and do a dance afterwards. Then we had the match. It was the Rascals minus Chris Benoit versus China and Too Cool. This was a good 6-man tag. Again, I don't know what it was doing at WrestleMania. This should have been on Raw. I would have preferred like Dean Malenko. Obviously, we'll talk about it later, but the match that happened at Backlash between Malenko and Scotty 2 Hotty should have been on this show. Yeah, this was a good 6-man tag. The heels dominate Scotty 2 Hotty for a while. And then eventually China gets the hot tag. And they really did a good job of building that anticipation of China getting her hands on Eddie Guerrero. She's even doing the hot tag, and Eddie Guerrero just consistently escapes her, which was good. And then eventually Eddie Guerrero attacks her from behind, and like then they finally China finally gets her hands on Guerrero. And the crowd just popped and loved it. Scotty 2 Hotty does the double worm onto Malenko and Perry Saturn. I know a lot of people crap on the worm, but it was so over that it really doesn't matter to me. If the finish was over,
it's the dumbest thing in the world, but it's awesome because of it.
Yeah. Eventually, China does the Gorilla Press Slam onto Eddie Guerrero, wins the match. Realistically, this is the Rascals really probably should have won this match. They were a new faction at this time, and I think they really needed a win here. However, with what happens the next night, it really doesn't matter. I hate to say that, but it really doesn't, because I'm actually okay with taking. Maybe we think we still could have had the Rascals, but I'm actually okay with this in a sense, because this is the benefit of hindsight. The next night, China ends up joining up with Eddie Guerrero, and we get that classic partnership between Eddie Guerrero and China. So
yeah,
it was awesome. But this match was the 3 stars. I thought it was a good match. Obviously, the talent's good enough to make the match good. Again, I just have to ask, like, this was a Raw match. What was it doing in WrestleMania? What would you think of it?
Again, you just said it all for me. I'm pretty much right there with you. 3-star match.
Next, Michael Cole interviews Vince McMahon. He talks about how pretty much he's going to make this right for the McMahon family. And he says that he's going to make sure the right person walks out on as the WWF champion. This is obviously a tease with what happens at the end of the show. Yeah. Then we had the McMahon-Helmsley faction backstage. And Triple H is pissed that he's possibly not going to walk out as WWF champion. But Stephanie McMahon tries to calm him down, and we don't really see anything else that happens. These segments were good. I thought they were fine. What'd you think of them?
They were good. They served their purpose.
Then we had X-Pac and Road Dogg with Tori ringside versus Rikishi and Kane with Paul Bear ringside. Road Dogg does his typical intro for DX. Obviously,
you didn't know?
Obviously, without Billy Gunn there, but it still worked. So this is probably at the time where Billy Gunn was out of the not out of the faction, but I remember I did ask that question in one of the retros, like, what happened to Billy Gunn, because he isn't in any of the segments with DX at this time, but at the Royal Rumble 2000, he's there, and he's there at No Way Out. So I think, if I'm just guessing here, I think he got some type of injury or something, because he doesn't show up with DX like at all. I think they had to write him off TV and everything like that. So, which is a shame. It's kind of funny to think that this is an example of what you guys talked about at WrestleMania 15's booking, where Vince Russo didn't have a lot of long-term booking, because a year ago Triple H turned on DX, and a year later they're just back together. So that just shows you right there, Vince Russo's long-term booking is non-existent. But yeah, this match was decent. This was a continuation of the forever feud between X-Pac and Kane. This is right after X-Pac eliminated Kane with an axe kick from the Royal Rumble. Yes, Casey, that happened. X-Pac eliminated.
I remember that. I saw that.
Yeah. James and I could not believe that happened.
I couldn't either.
Yeah. But yeah, so X-Pac was feuding with Kane. This is when I think X-Pac started to get his go-away heat a little bit. I don't think it was as bad until like the X Factor days, but this is when it was starting to happen. X-Pac and Kane were just feuding forever. I think a lot of people wanted this feud to be over. X-Pac originally was supposed to feud with Chris Jericho, at least have that IC title match with him on this show, but X-Pac wanted to finally end this feud with Kane, which is like fair enough, but this should have happened a long time ago. Kane had been turned on twice by Tori. Not once, but twice. And, Kane was gunning for X-Pac and Tori. We had the match. Rikishi and Kane attack DX. Rikishi does the stink face to not Billy Gunn, but Road Dogg. It's funny. It's funny I said Billy Gunn because he was the ass man at this time. So,
ass.
And then the match. Then he goes for one on Tori, but they pull him out of the ring before anything happens. DX, and then the match kind of proceeds as normal. The heels get the heat on Rikishi for like 5 seconds. It was legit 5 seconds. It wasn't long. And then eventually Kane gets the hot tag, hits a lot of really cool high power moves. And eventually, Rikishi does the stink face to Tori. And then eventually, Kane hits a tombstone on X-Pac for the win. And finally gets his feel-good win on X-Pac, which was pretty cool. I liked it.
Yep.
It just should have happened a long time ago. And then afterwards, the mascot, bird comes out. It was meant to be, the San Diego Chicken comes out. And it was teased earlier on Sunday Night Heat that Pete Rose was gunning for Kane. And he wanted revenge for Kane tombstoning him 2 years in a row. And we were meant to think this was Pete Rose. They do a segment where Too Cool come out and they all dance together with the chicken. And the way Kane looks, he has like the suspicious look on his face. Like he knows this is Pete Rose. So Kane goes to chokeslam the chicken. But then eventually Pete Rose runs out with a baseball bat. He goes to hit Kane in the back, but Rikishi blocks it. And this allows Kane to hit a choke slam on Pete Rose. Because even Pete Rose isn't crazy enough to take a third tombstone for the third year in a row. Yeah. And then Rikishi does the stink face to Pete Rose. And then afterwards, Kane leaves. And I think the biggest thing I liked about this out of anything else, because if this was booked nowadays, Kane would have done the dancing thing and everything like that. Like Kane stayed a monster after this. He didn't break character or anything like that, which I think I like the most about it, because nowadays that would have happened. But I thought this was a decent segment here, a decent tag match. I gave it 2.25 stars. This also should have been on Raw. I would have liked to have seen Kane have a different match at WrestleMania. It really sucks. Luckily here, you could say that you can make the argument maybe they were dropping the ball a little bit with Kane, but Kane was still somewhat of a big presence, and they still protected him pretty well. They obviously recovered for it at the Royal Rumble 01 and everything like that, but and he wasn't another guy on the roster at this point. But when I see stuff like this with Kane, I don't get as sad here because he was still protected, but I always just think of what. Not necessarily if they protected Kane. Think of Kane, Glenn Jacobs himself was. I sometimes wish he would have been a little bit more selfish, because he would have been like a big time main eventer, like the Undertaker was. I mean, Undertaker I know was unselfish a little bit too, but I wish Kane would have been a little bit more unselfish.
Yeah, as Brock Lesnar puts it, this business is a give and take. There's times to be unselfish, but when it is time for you to take. You take.
Yeah. And I think Kane should have taken a little bit more. But yeah, what did you think of this tag match here?
I'd say 2.5.
Yeah, it's decent. I obviously love seeing Pete Rose get laid out. I always loved it. I always like to see that.
Pete Rose is such a sport. God bless him.
Yeah. I know a lot. I know I didn't do it. You guys didn't do a career retrospective of Pete Rose. I guess I have to do one. I really don't know a lot about Pete Rose because, as you know, Casey, I don't watch sports other than wrestling.
I can tell you a couple of things.
I know he can't go into like the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's a big thing.
Yep, because he bet on baseball, and a lot of his bets were involving his own team, the Cincinnati Reds. But yeah, for the longest time, he was baseball's all-time hit king with over 4,000 hits, I think.
Damn.
And yeah, the other thing I was going to mention was you already took care of. He bet on baseball.
Yeah. He did get to go into a Hall of Fame, though. He got to go into the celebrity win of the WWE Hall of Fame. I think he went in like 2010, I think.
Sounds about right. It was pretty cool.
So he's a Hall of Famer.
Just not the one he was hoping for.
I always make this joke, by the way. So when Donald Trump was president, my mom hates Donald Trump, and my grandfather does also.
Like a lot of us.
So my mom one time, I was like, "What does he think? He's a Hall of Famer?" One time, and I just went, "He is a Hall of Famer because he was at the WWE Hall of Fame."
Yeah.
So when my mom, I don't think my mom expected me to say that but yeah, he is a Hall of Fame. I can't ever take that away from him. So, but yeah, next, Kevin Kelly interviews The Rock, and The Rock does the typical Rock promo, talking about everybody in this match, and says that he's going to walk out the WWF champion. And he even mentions the long chase that he had to go to get there, because he even mentions last year he was the champion, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he had not been the champion since WrestleMania 15. So
sounds about right.
Because I think it went to Austin, then it went to Taker, then back to Austin, then it went to Mankind, then Triple H, then Vince, then Vacant, then Triple H, then Big Show, then Triple H. So yeah, he had not been champion since WrestleMania 15. So it's a while.
Yeah.
Good promo here by The Rock as always. I mean, I don't think.
Yep. The Rock. Say what you will about The Rock, he is gifted on the stick in 2000.
Yeah. Next match. I don't know. So I'm just gonna tell you right now. I have it rated as a 2-star match, but it might change because sometimes I'll give you behind the scenes. Sometimes I'll rate a match 1-star rating, but then we start talking about it and it completely changes, either for the better or for the worse. Because sometimes it happens. I think because you actually talk about it, you're actually thinking about it more. That's why your opinion changes. I think that's going to happen here because I have a love-hate relationship with this match. But let's talk about it. We had Mick Foley with Linda McMahon ringside versus The Big Show with Shane McMahon ringside versus The Rock with Vince McMahon ringside versus Triple H, who's defending the belt with Stephanie McMahon Helmsley ringside in a fatal 4-way elimination match for the WWF Championship. So how do we get?
So it's a 4-way dance, basically.
Yep. How do we get here? Oh, let's talk about it. So this. Let's go back to Royal Rumble Retro. I said we were going to revisit this topic. Well, I said James and I would, but James is producing because he didn't want to be bothered talking about this Mania, which I kind of can't blame him. But yeah, The Rock won the Rumble in 2000, and it was a nice, easy shot. It was all you had to do was just do The Rock versus Triple H. It was an easy Mania match to book. They had obviously had history together anyways from their clashes for the Intercontinental title and even for the WWF title shortly before this. So it was an easy story to write. You couldn't get any more simpler than that. So how WWF plays things /E, boy, do they take so many turns. So in fairness to them, the finish of the Royal Rumble 2000 was botched because The Rock clearly was eliminated first before the Big Show. So, and they couldn't hide it because it was pretty noticeable. So instead, what happened was they did a match of No Way Out between The Rock and the Big Show, where whoever won would main event WrestleMania. And this, you think this would be nice and easy, right? All The Rock has to do is win, right? No, he lost. So it was looking like it was going to be the Big Show main event in WrestleMania. And they continued the Triple H Cactus Jack feud coming out of the Royal Rumble. If you want to know what the history behind that was, just go watch the Royal Rumble 2000 retro. So I'm not repeating it because I'm not doing that. So I'm too mad right now. And Cactus Jack lost a career versus title match where if he lost, his career was over. And it was a epic Hell in a Cell match. I still think it is, no matter what, how the WWF tried to ruin it. And Mick Foley lost / Cactus Jack. So you thought that Mick Foley wasn't going to get to his main event at WrestleMania. Well, it gets more complicated than that. So
along comes Linda McMahon.
Yeah, but before that, The Rock wanted to get back into his WrestleMania match, and he had to have like a handicap match or something with the Big Show and Triple H. And Vince McMahon made his return because Triple H, kayfabe at this time anyways, married into the family and had the street fight with Vince McMahon at Armageddon in '99, where at the end after he wanted everything, Steph turned on him, and we hadn't seen Vince since. And he helped The Rock win. So then it was a triple threat match, it was looking like. And eventually, that wasn't the case either, because then Linda McMahon returned and added Mick Foley to the match because it was the right thing to do, which was a pretty crappy way to get Mick Foley in there, but whatever. Vince also wanted Foley in the match IRL because he didn't want Foley to end his career without main event in WrestleMania. I mean, it probably should have happened earlier, but it shouldn't happen here. Not that it gets Mick Foley, it was just The Rock's time. Yeah. So then the match was changed, but after the match was set up, there was infighting with the McMahon family. There was a segment where Stephanie McMahon struck Linda McMahon down. There was a segment where Linda attacked Steph, which when Linda ran for Senate in 2012, wanted removed from the library and stuff. I think she ended up being successful. Vince was fighting with Shane because he was a heel at this time. So basically, the McMahons were all infighting with each other. So that's why there was a McMahon in every corner.
And again, what the hell kind of family did I marry into?
Yeah. This storyline's pretty damn terrible, I think. I feel like it was like WWE had like a point A to point B, and they just took so many like stopgaps to get to point B. Yeah.
They got lost.
It was right there where The Rock could have just fought Triple H for the belt, but they did this instead. I am happy Mick Foley got the main event WrestleMania, but it really wasn't the time for it. Especially since Mick Foley comes back, there really wasn't a need for it to happen here. But yeah, I just didn't really like this storyline. It's one of those examples where sometimes the Attitude Era booking doesn't work because it doesn't look good when you consistently change the main event, not just of your pay-per-view, of WrestleMania. Like a picture like the Super. I mean, I know this can't happen in real life, but picture the Super Bowl like 3 weeks before the Super Bowl, or like 4 weeks before the Super Bowl. They change the Super Bowl consistently, like but in a boxing fight, they changed the box. I guess that's more realistic. They changed the boxing fight like 3 times before the thing. Like, and picture of it, that still did good buy rates because the business was good at this time. So, but going through the match itself, Big Show starts fighting with The Rock while Triple H fights with Mick Foley. Eventually, Big Show just gets out of the corner fighting The Rock, and he just clotheslines both Triple H and Mick Foley. He dominates the matchup for a while, just using his power and his height to control everybody. Eventually, all 3 guys start working together, attacking the Big Show, and eventually Triple H just turns on everybody and just attacks everybody, and it's just a free-for-all at that point. Eventually, Mick Foley grabs a chair, and for some reason, behind the ref's back, even though it's no DQ, they say it's no DQ, he hits Big Show in the back with a chair, and The Rock hits a rock bottom onto him, covers the Big Show, and he's eliminated. He's eliminated in about 5 minutes. So I have to ask, what was the point of the Big Show being in the match if he was just going to be eliminated in 5 minutes? Like, what a waste of time that was. Yeah. But yeah, the match continues. There's a lot of stalling. Triple H offers for Mick Foley and The Rock to work together to take out one of the opposing person, and The Rock teases like he's going to work together with Triple H, but he turns on him, and The Rock and Sock Connection reform. They attack Triple H, and they just beat the crap out of him for a while. Eventually, they do a good spot where The Rock Irish whips Triple H. Mick Foley Irish whips Triple H, and The Rock clotheslines him, which was really cool. Eventually, Mick Foley goes to hit Triple H with the ring bell. The Rock has him hold like in a full Nelson, and Triple H ducks, and he inadvertently hits The Rock, and this allows Triple H to get the advantage. He throws Mick Foley into the steps, and Triple H throws The Rock over the barricade. Mick Foley grabs the 2x4, and obviously this sends Triple H scared because this was a big spot that happened in the street fight and in the Hell in a Cell match, and Triple H is able, though, to roll into the ring, and he's able to lure Cactus Jack / Mick Foley into the ring so that way he can get the advantage on him. And he hits Mick Foley with the 2x4 and wrapped in barbed wire. Eventually, The Rock joins in, and they continuously beat down Triple H, and they just beat down Triple H for a while. Yep. And this part was stupid. So Mick Foley has Triple H in the mandible claw, and The Rock, I think, hits like a neck breaker or like a low blow on Triple H or something. And it was really stupid. It was the Elimination Chamber 06 finish where Triple H was clearly going to go out. And it's elimination, by the way. It's not like a one-fall match. And, The Rock broke it up. That didn't make any sense at all. Because they clearly could have had Triple H eliminated there. Like, he was clearly going to pass out. It was really bad. Then the match kind of takes... jumps off a cliff a little bit. So The Rock goes for the people's elbow, and Triple H takes his head off with a clothesline. There's a point where The Rock has Triple H beat, and Mick Foley breaks up the pinfall because he wants to be the one to eliminate Triple H, and that doesn't make any sense. I get they were trying to do that because they hated each other, but it's elimination. Like, as you know, Casey, I made it vocal. I don't like it when you break up pinfalls and stuff in an elimination match. You guys have felt that.
That doesn't make any sense.
I gave you guys a pass because you were learning the game at the time. So
right.
Not much of a pass, but somewhat of a pass. Then all of a sudden the match gets really stupid. All of a sudden, Triple H and Mick Foley start working together to take out The Rock. What happened there? Okay, this doesn't make sense on all sorts of levels. One, this was right after the Street Fighter No Way Out match where they went to war with each other and destroyed each other. That didn't make any sense. Two, I think Mick Foley said, and The Rock has said, all they cared about was making sure Triple H lost the championship going into this show. Yet Mick Foley's working together with the guy that he doesn't want to be the champion. Three, this is another good point. This was right after Mick Foley and The Rock were working together against Triple H. This didn't make any sense at all. Like, what was going on here? Whoever structured that part of the match should have immediately been suspended, not fired because these things happen. But yeah, they should have been suspended. Maybe they were suspended. I just don't know about it. But yeah, for some weird reason, Triple H and Mick Foley are working together against The Rock. Really stupid. This is the point where Mick Foley also has The Rock. The Rock's clearly going to pass out to the, Mr. Sacco, the Mandible Claw. Triple H low blows Mick Foley. What are you doing that for? It's elimination. They fight to the outside. Mick Foley hits The Rock off the head with the steps. And then this is botched so bad. And I feel bad because the table just wouldn't break. Mick Foley tries to have an awesome WrestleMania moment here. This could have been played for years. Where he goes to hit an elbow drop off of the second turnbuckle onto The Rock. But the table doesn't break. So Triple H improvises.
I think he also kind of missed it.
Yeah. I forgot to mention earlier, by the way, there's a spot in the 6-man tag where Perry Saturn, I think, went to hit an elbow drop on Scotty 2 Hotty or Grandmaster Sexay, and he completely misses, but he clearly was supposed to hit that because he's Grandmaster Sexay sells it. But anyhow, continuing, and then Triple H tries to do just like a forearm smash off of one of the announce tables onto The Rock. The table still doesn't break, and you can tell Triple H is just annoyed at this point because he immediately goes up on the barricade and does it Stone Cold Steve Austin style for WrestleMania 15 onto The Rock. And the table, it does break, but it's not a clean break. It completely crumbles. This table was cursed that night. And then eventually Triple H turns on Mick Foley. I think this was after Triple H, had Mick Foley, I think, was supposed to be down from the elbow drop, and I think this spot was supposed to happen, but they had to improvise a little bit. He hits a pedigree on Mick Foley. He kicks out of the first pedigree, and then Triple H hits Mick Foley with the barbed wire 2x4 twice, and then he hits him with a chair, pedigrees him on the chair, and gets the win. Well, not the win, but he eliminates Mick Foley. And they let this play out for a bit. This was meant to be Mick Foley's swan song. He raises his arm up. Mick Foley, though, was not going to go down that way. He gets back into the ring and hits Triple H off the head with the 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. And then he leaves. You would typically I would say what a great send off for Mick Foley, but he's had many send offs since then. So
Yeah.
It would have been a good one though. That would have been a good send off for him.
Yep.
But then again, we wouldn't have that great hardcore match at WrestleMania 22 between him and Edge. So give or take. But then it's down. Then The Rock goes for the cover. Triple H kicks out. And The Rock and Triple H fight. The Rock takes Triple H over to the entrance ramp for some reason.
And honestly, for me, now that the match is down to 2 and they can focus on it, this is where the match actually started getting enjoyable.
Yeah, it did. I did like it though when it was the triple threat stuff with Mick Foley, The Rock, and Triple H.
Of course, it's Mick Foley, but this is the match we all wanted and probably should have got.
Yeah. Triple H, The Rock DDTs Triple H onto the stage ramp. It wasn't really a ramp; it was more like a hardwood floor covered by rugs and stuff. They fight over to the ring. Triple H throws The Rock into the post. He pile drives The Rock onto the steps, which was just brutal. And then eventually The Rock suplexes Triple H through the English announce table. And then Shane McMahon comes back. He attacks The Rock from behind. And then him and Vince get into it. Vince, this was weird. So Shane McMahon attacks Vince. He hits him off the head with a television monitor. And Vince gets right back up from this. Like, there's no selling from this. He gets up like 2 seconds later. It was like, oh, that didn't make any sense. So then Vince attacks Shane. And Shane's able to get in a low blow. He hits Vince off the head with an unprotected steel chair shot. And Vince has to be helped to the back. And you would think this would be awesome, right? But with what happens in a couple seconds, it doesn't make sense. But then, Triple H and The Rock start fighting again. Triple H pedigrees The Rock. He kicks out. And then The Rock hits a rock bottom, and there's a double down. Shane McMahon hits The Rock off the head with a chair, so now he's aligned with Triple H at this point. And then Vince comes back out. Actually, he doesn't. I did mess up. Shane never actually hits anyone with the chair, but when he gets up, he teases like he's going to hit The Rock or with the chair. Vince comes back in. He clobbers. He knocks down Shane. He clobbers The Rock with a chair, and it was clearly meant to be a swerve because he teases like he's going to hit Triple H. But instead, he hits The Rock, and Triple H goes for the cover. The Rock kicks out, so then he just hits him a second time for good measure, and then Triple H gets the win. You never see Triple H celebrate with the title, so that just shows you that the McMahons were the more important thing out of this match than the match itself, because you never ever saw the guy celebrate the win. Afterwards, Vince McMahon is aligned with his daughter again. He made it right like he said he was going to. We're not really sure at this point what's going on between him and Shane because he's mouthing off to Shane, and before we can really find out what's going to happen, The Rock makes his way back to the ring. He rock bottoms Vince. He rock bottoms Shane. He hits a spine buster on Stephanie after she slaps him and hits the people elbow on Stephanie, celebrates, and that was it. There's a lot to say about this match. This match is a lot of halves here. What to hate about this match? What was the point of the Big Show being in this match if he was going to be eliminated in 5 minutes? Why were Mick Foley and Triple H working together? What was the point of all that stuff with Vince and Shane if he was just going to turn on him anyways? It was a shitty swerve too. When it was down to The Rock versus Triple H for like a brief period, it was really good. The finish, I think the finish sucks. The Rock should have won here. You had your top star and Stone Cold Steve Austin out. They didn't know Austin still wasn't due back on a full-time capacity until like September anyways. And you needed to make a new star. I mean, they still made a new star anyways, but The Rock really needed to win to show that like he was the guy, and he still lost. And the swerve didn't make any sense. And Triple H was the first ever guy as a heel to walk out as champion, retain his belt. And he was a complete afterthought here. He's never shown again after he wins. I originally gave this match a 2, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm knocking it down to a star and 3/4. The bits that are in this match really work, but there's just so much stuff in this match that really make it not work that I can't get a 2-star rating. So, what did you think of this match, Casey?
This was just too much of a convoluted mess to really be worth the people's time as a main event. You really fell victim to overbooking here, and it cost you big. I'm gonna say an even 2 stars, but yeah, this was not great overall for a main event.
Yeah, but yeah, so I talked about it. So we mentioned it in the Backlash video. Backlash 2000 really was what WrestleMania 2000 should have been. We had the main event we should have had. You could make the argument we had the IC title match that we should have had. We probably should have had the European title match be like Jericho versus Guerrero, or at the very least, maybe Guerrero versus Angle, with Guerrero beating Angle for the belt, with China turning on him at Mania. Obviously, I would keep the Triangle Ladder match. I would obviously keep that. The light heavyweight title match that happened at Backlash 2000 should have been on this show. When we say Backlash 2000 is what WrestleMania 2000 should have been, it's not a joke. Because if you watch, granted too, I saw Backlash 2000 before I saw this show. If I told people that was, and didn't even tell them what show we were watching, that was WrestleMania 2000, and that WrestleMania 2000 was Backlash, I think people would have believed me, because Backlash 2000 really is WrestleMania 2000. That's what that show should have been. But yeah, let's do the letter grades. What would you give this show as a letter grade overall? I don't even know what you gave WrestleMania 15. I don't even think you guys ever ended up doing letter grades, because you guys were that done with it. But what would you give this show as a letter grade?
I'm gonna say C+.
Yeah, I'm gonna go C+ as well, mainly because of the triple threat match and the triangle ladder match. Those 2 matches really saved this show from being like one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. I'm so excited just talking about them. Like I just talked about them, and I'm excited just even mentioning them, because those matches are that good. But yeah, so that's the end of WrestleMania 2000. And yeah, I mean, 2000 still ended up being like a really good year for the WWF. So let's not mistake that. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we're trucking along with these WrestleMania review series. Next week, if things turn out right, we'll be doing WrestleMania 10, and we'll be doing WrestleMania 24, which is going to be your pick, Casey. So you get to be. We're doing the 2 of these in a row, and I'm not going to say anything yet.
Oh, we can't say it now. It is official. We just have to come up with a date.
Yeah. Okay, we can say it now.
Yes, we can.
I can't believe that I'm going to say this. Jeff Meacham is going to be on the WrestleMania 24 Retro, which is going to be...
Because he was there.
I'm pretty sure he was at this show, too. I think this was his first Mania. But I think he probably would have done this one, but I think scheduling just didn't work out for it and stuff like that. So, but he'll probably correct me in the next video. I'm pretty sure he was at this WrestleMania as well.
But trust me, this is the better one that he wants to cover for sure. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to put him through that again.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited about it. And yeah, let's just do the plugs and promotion. You have anything you want to plug or promote, Casey? I know you do.
I got a few things. Just recently, within the past couple of days, I think, there's been a few videos popping up on my channel. Obviously, subscribe to Luke Lynch for all of that. You can follow me on Twitch at Luke12Lynch. But if you don't really feel like checking out Twitch that much, for which I really wouldn't blame you, you can check out a few of the videos that have just recently dropped on my YouTube channel. The first and foremost of which is the watch along that we did as the Indie Force for Backlash 2000, which was, of course, a precursor to the retro that we did about it.
So there you go.
You can also check out James. He's doing a playthrough series, more so with Dick around.
Well, no, the Let's Play series on season mode is done. I posted it on there because if you want to see me rage at trying to race on a beach with horrible traction, then that will be fun.
Yep. There you go. Part 3 of NASCAR Thunder 2004, as played by James Hebert, is also on my channel. And a few weeks ago, I think it was actually about this time. It was the end of January, right around the time of the most recent pay-per-view of this ilk. We had a marathon of 5 different Royal Rumble matches. The Royal Rumble Marathon watch along is also on my channel, so check that out if you're interested.
So there you go.
We also, there is one more thing. Yeah,
there is indeed one more thing. Episode 5 of Stable Wars has finally dropped. It is James, Michael X, Mistress Audio, and the Simple Man Noah Foster. Go check out the 5th episode of Stable Wars and see what kind of crazy hijinks all those crazy fuckers get up to.
All the fucked fuckers in the chat, please stand up.
Well, I kind of can't stand up. I'm laying down.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll do my plugs next, and then Owen, you can close it out with your plugs. All of my stuff, if you want to know what's coming on my channel also, since I was mainly producer man for this, I might as well just do it myself. Watch Party for Dynamite, which just dropped last night. We're on the AEW Revolution week, so we're doing all that stuff. We watched that infamous Dynamite. That's getting mixed reviews for sure. We'll be doing the Rampage one as well, so that should be fun. And there's also a bunch of stuff going on Noah's channel. So you could check out his Simply Predicting panel for AEW Revolution, which, again, by the way, announcement here. Might as well let you guys know, and I'll let everybody else know. FTW title and our respective brands' titles as well will be on the line yet again. By the way, I'm a triple champ, so yeah, yay. Cool. I'll be defending all my gold, putting it all on the line. Wrestle Rundown title, Indie Force title, FTW title, all on the line here. I'm the champ, so there you go. Got to put it all on the line, so there you go. You can also check out the Don DeMarco Show playlist. Tech 9 binge is coming soon with me and King A-Train, talking about people that have featured with Tech 9, including one Dwayne Johnson. Believe it or not. That's an interesting one. You can check out our SMBZ voice acting playlist. I'm promoting that because episode 3 is just around the corner this year. So stay tuned for that. Mistress Audio with her Struggle in the Snow dramatic reading. Featuring new voice actors in Weymouth Youth Wrestling. You can go check that out on her channel right now. And last but not least, speaking of Weymouth Youth Wrestling, check out Weymouth Youth Wrestling at youtube.com/user/WYW Pride. And, yeah, there you go. You can check out all the promos that we already have in the description. And with that said, Noah, listen to me. It's too fucking late to be doing this.
He's the producer man.
I'm the producer man, and I fucking botched. And all your stuff is on the middle. Go ahead and close this out, brother.
So yeah, as for my stuff, you can check out the WWE Aftershock series where Chris and I will cover everything WWE related. Sometimes Steve Coakley. That will be we'll be doing a new episode live on Saturday, which will be excited. Talking about all the things that happened at the end of post Chamber Week, beginning of this week stuff. So that would be great. All of this week's stuff. Will be obviously AEW Spark will be on this channel, which is hosted by Noah, and occasionally he has a guest on that show. So that would be fun. I don't know if he's going to do an episode this week since he's doing live reactions, everything like that. Anyways, so there's no need to do Spoke, but he might surprise us.
No, we'll still do Spark. We just won't go in depth of stuff we've already watched and done live coverage of, probably.
That's fair. You can check out the Retro Wrestling Review series for all of the past Retro Wrestling Review series, specifically these ones. We're trying to break the record of 2019. I still got to look at what the record is. I'm pretty sure we're going to break it if we get all these Manias done of the most retros we've done in a year, because it's a pretty good record to have. So we want to break that record, and we don't only want to break it, we want to destroy that record to the point where we can never break it again. Which we probably could if we did like one retro a day, but we're not doing that. We're not that crazy. And you can also subscribe to this channel. I say that this time because I am 3 subscribers away from 400. And it'd be awesome to get to 400, especially so Jeff Meacham could come on and say that he's on a 400 subscriber channel. That way he's not on a less than 400 subscriber channel. Now, Casey and James, this is not me telling you to make it another account and subscribe to it. I want to earn these subscribers. I don't want any of these fake subscribers.
So create a burner account. Got it.
But I kind of want to get there, but don't want to get there, because then if I get to 400, I have to make a 400 subscriber shout out video, and that goes.
No, you don't. Stop. You don't need to. No, stop doing those. We're not going through this again where it's a 12-hour bullshit thing. No, stop it. By the way, go to the live chat, because all your stuff is in order, by the way. I did it for a reason. Go to the middle of the chat.
Oh, yeah. So probably, to be fair, I'm still new at this live chat stuff, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
All the retros are there. And I think that's mainly everything. The other thing I'll plug is the CM Brothers channel. My cousin and I, you still have to upload that channel update video, by the way.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware. Dude, it cut me some slack. Allow it. Documentary has got to take a priority right now.
That's true, yeah. But you can check out our 400 video, even though YouTube says it's not 400. We're at like 620, but that's bullshit. No, not 620. It's like 320, 360. It said that's bullshit. We were at 400. I don't know why YouTube decided we're not now, but we're fucking So I think they just don't count the shorts and the lives now as videos, but they're fucking videos. I don't know what they're doing. Again, I'm trying to be nice to YouTube here because I don't want to get like my channels removed. But when you do shit like that, I have to call that out. So, but yeah, you can check out our 400th video. We did the review of the fantastic Death Note 2017 on Netflix movie, the best movie that we've ever seen. We loved it so much. We spent like over 3 hours talking about it. We didn't get mad once. It was the best movie we've ever seen. So, on that note, we will talk to you guys later, and I can't say my catchphrase anymore because it's live now, and that's very sad.
We'll talk to you in the present. Since we're live streaming this in the present, talk to you.
So my catchphrase is broken. You ruined my catchphrase.
Didn't think this shit through.
Since we're streaming this in the present, we'll talk to y'all in the future.
My beautiful catchphrase is gone.
It's gone because we're live streaming. What do you want, bro? You had an opportunity to say it on the Mania 15 one, and you didn't because you were rushing through it because the show was awful.
So. Well, I was trying not to go long either.
That is fair. All right. Bye, everyone. Yay.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my...